All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is July 7th, 2022. Happy Thursday to everyone. This will be our last Engineering the Markets for this week. Bit of a shorter week, so we've had a little bit less opportunity to cover some intermarket analysis and kind of talk about some of the technicals forming over the new month and the new quarter. But overall, we've had a fairly low impact overall S&P week at this point in time. And that can be kind of highlighted with our low volatility inside of our expected move this week. Recall we're looking at about about a 93 point expected move. And when we're looking at this lower volatility inside of the week, we obviously have less trading days to worry about, but we also want to give the market a chance to maybe test one of these levels, which so far we haven't technically met on either side. We might also want to say what is the market pricing for the rest of the week. It is basically a day out from our Friday expiration, and what you'll notice is on Friday, the market's pricing about 58 points of continual expected movement, which means from yesterday's close, or approximately from where we are this morning, we're still looking at the S&P being able to move plus or minus 60 points, and that being within our standard deviation range. You kind of compare that with where we are, and we're looking at a fairly flat overall first two trading sessions this week. The idea that the market can move another 60 points in both directions gives us an idea that we could move to this upper bound, or we could easily sort of retest what has been our weekly support, our weekly low that was established on Tuesday. So when we have a week of very low catalyst-driven events, there's a little bit of economic data coming out today in regards to our jobless claims. And then you look at Friday, the overall landscape of this week is fairly quiet. We even had sort of a recap of the FOMC minutes yesterday. There was a bit of volatility and a bit of an afternoon rally into some profit taking. But overall, the market participation has been quite low. And we've seen that through a little bit of waning volume throughout the S&Ps. You can notice that maybe through ES futures, if you wanted to kind of check the overall volume relative to a hedging product, you'll notice it's relatively low comparative. And you can also just kind of spot check that on the SPY as well. Bullish overall days, but the participation on them has been quite low. So what does that do for us as traders? What should we be kind of monitoring and managing throughout this quieter time in the market? Well, for the option trader among us, I think this is a good week to consider going a bit neutral. We talked about how even though it was a shorter week, the volatility last week had subsided, and the S&P was able to close within its expected move for the first time after a couple of weeks of 2 to 3 sigma breaches on both ends. So going neutral this week in certain products has been probably advantageous because we really haven't moved too much. We also noted the idea that there can be a shift into more growth-oriented stocks. And for this, you can be looking at particular names. You can be looking at relative performance in regards to just your normal index products. One thing that's been quite noteworthy is that the intraday performance of the NASDAQ has been, for the most part, much stronger than the S&P. So there has been a little bit of short-term interest in returning to NASDAQ-related products. Pulling up a list here as well. Wanted to get a better could look at something like a mega cap ETF. Let's kind of take a look at these. So these are going to be quite related to our NASDAQ. Should have had this prepared ahead of time. Actually, let's do this one. Let's do one that's been in focus for a while. So the ARK ETF. Now, short term, this really doesn't look like anything. In fact, for the most part, this ETF has been trading sideways for a period of time. But you kind of combine that with what has been the norm. This has been a perpetual downtrend, a market losing market cap pretty much every single pullback and reactionary low has been broken. We've seen some high volume occur on the most recent lows, and this has facilitated for now a bit of sideways trade. The market is also pricing in a little bit of what's happening in the bond market, which has been a pretty significant pullback. You'll know that a lot of bond traders are actually short-term interested in playing bonds long. They're seeing a bit of an overextended top in interest rates. And whether you're looking at the 5, so we'll look at something like FVX, which has had a similar decline after its recent breakout, coming back into your breakout high and then failing with a gap. That's very bearish. It showcases the potential for trend reversal. And TYX, our 30-year, similar declines. Another thing you'll notice here, though, is they're also pricing approximately the same rates. And this is something that we do need to keep a little bit of an eye on due to the fact that yesterday we did have a yield curve inversion between the 2 and the 10-year. You'll notice that particularly at the start of the month, if you're comparing pretty much all the way to your 10-year, a lot of these rates are very similar, indicating a relatively flat note and bond style market. Obviously, your 20 and 30 are paying much more, and yet those are still highly inverted products. The 20-year paying much higher than the 30-year. This has been true pretty much since the beginning of the year. But what you'll notice yesterday, compare your 2-year at about 2.97 to your 10-year at about 2.93. We've seen yield curve inversion this year before. It was a bit of a flash, a warning of a potential recession to come, especially if the market remained in that state for an extended period of time. Let's call it a month. We were able to circle out of that position and that period of time fairly quickly. We only remained inverted for a couple of days, if I can recall. And then pretty much everything has kind of transpired as we've seen. This is the second time we're entering this state, and what it can do is put, once again, a little bit of fear back into the market. You have your just general lower inclination to get engaged with equities. Can also put a bit of pressure on certain sectors. One sector in particular that I'm keeping an eye on is financials. We are entering back into earnings about next week, I believe. I think we're kind of kicking off next week and the week following. And with the beginning of earnings comes the financials starting off that phase. Financials typically like to have wider spreads between their short-term and their long-term borrowing rates. And unfortunately, in a recessionary environment, that typically is not true. We're either trading relatively flat, or in cases of a stronger recessionary signal, you'll actually be inverted. So curiosity into the earnings for next week. Will this put bit of a warning towards the financial performance, and will they comment on the idea of us potentially going into a later stage recession by the end of this year, along with what is their expectation for performance and future growth as far as the sector is concerned. Notice, however, that, from a technical sense, and this is kind of where you pull things back a little bit, financials have returned to pre-pandemic highs. This was before, obviously, the steep decline in the market. We're also pulling back to our 200 period. Now, we haven't really seen any bullish reaction yet, but this is approximately where I expect some defense. This one right here is more of a breakdown, but you can see even the spike high reacts around these moving averages. You'll also notice that when the market went into an uptrend, basically post-election, financials were a lead bull sector for a long period of time. There was a period of performance there, similar to energy, where we had a runaway or breakaway style gap, and the market really took off from this point. Not to say that this is going to be what to expect moving forward, but I think it's the right location to be looking. And depending on your risk tolerance and sort of your perspective of the market, this can be the beginning of a good entry point if you're looking to get engaged with financial related stocks. Keeping in mind, however, that this particular ETF is comprised of a lot of different holdings. We have, all of our banks certainly putting up a large portion of this market cap weighting, but we also have insurance companies, we have capital market groups, and then we have just general consumer finance, your credit card / loan companies that we interact with every day. So for now and for today, I'll kind of open the chat room and the YouTube chat for questions. Don't really have too much else to look at today except for maybe looking for a slight bounce in energy. Once again, similar idea. We're hitting the 200. This is a point where I expect some bullish defense. The only thing I'm curious about here is the steep decline in energy as of late, and obviously expecting the bounce to be somewhat muted. So more of a day trade, short-term swing trade idea at the least. Okay, so RFG, can you share the link to the daily yields or to so you're looking at this guy? How come it's the 2 and the 10-year that are important combined? It's not necessarily that those are the most important, but when people refer to the yield curve, they often are referring to the 2 and the 10. Any two bond products can go inverted, and that is technically a yield curve between those products. But when you generalize the yield curve being inverted, 2 and 10 is often your common comparison. There's also a lot of interest between the 10 and the 30, more for mortgage rates and just borrowing between banking institutions. And I believe that's also true, although I don't fully understand the dynamics when you're looking at very short-term loans. You want to be thinking about anything that has a maturity of approximately 2 years. Historically, there's been products like CDs that have had shorter term loan rates. Banks usually will leverage that capital that you're allowing them to hold, and you're kind of locking up your capital. Banks can use that to basically facilitate profitability. They use that money to make more money. And usually the comparison is that they're going to borrow short and lend long. You want your long-term yield to be higher because if you have longer-term loans, you want those to be more profitable. If that becomes flat or inverted, the skew between the two, or basically the difference between the two, changes. and that changes the model of how banks have to align their loan practices. They often tighten loan practices around this time, and we've certainly seen that the idea of getting certain loans has been harder as of late. They also will increase the rate of those loans to facilitate the loss that they're seeing in their borrowing. So, there's a lot of, I would say, interplay dynamics to it. There's a lot of moving pieces that banks certainly operate between. 2, 10, and 30 are some of your most important. But if you're talking yield curve, 2 and 10 is usually where people refer to. So Banu, short XLF to 26-ish. Let's take a look. If you're looking at your bounce, so this market bottomed at about 30. We reacted up to 33. If this does break bearish, then this extension should double. That's ideal. And when you speak in those kind of terminology, those extensions, you often want to look at something like this. So this range, if it expands, would get you to about 200%, which to me would be about 28. The high here, 32.87, the low, 30.58. So that's about $2.30. If it breaks bearish, I'd want to get to about 200% as a target, and then everything else should be gravy. But where do you risk it? You either risk this pivot or you risk a confirmed breakdown right here. It's kind of your lower high on a new downtrend. This right here technically is a very small uptrend, but it's a pullback in the larger downtrend, which is your weekly. You're also running into that moving average, so look out for a stronger reaction against it. We haven't tested yet, but we're close. So just be kind of aware, the location is important too. In this market environment, what form of trading investing would you recommend? Well, you can do day trading at any time. Day trading shouldn't be limited by any market condition unless the market is closed or unless we're dropping 7% and you can't trade intraday. So those are the only two times you shouldn't day trade, is when you can't. There's no restriction on day trading. There's always something to day trade pretty much every day. Swing trading, I think if you're noticing a market that has a lot of gaps, there was a period in time a couple of weeks ago, being a swing trader was pretty hard. Not to say that you couldn't have had some home run shorts, but I'm talking about swing trading in both camps. And when you have a gapping market, it's hard to assume that your stop loss is going to be hit precisely. You could be gapped through your stop loss. You can basically exceed, I would say like orders. And that's very dangerous. Even if you're on the right side, it's still dangerous because sometimes you'll gap in the favor of your trade, and the next morning you'll gap through or above. So even initiating positions on confirmation can be hard. Swinging with options always kind of limits that risk a little bit, and obviously the strategy and the style matters. But I don't think it's a bad time to swing trade. You just have to be a little careful. And obviously, our bigger trend is still down. The question is, are we seeing an attempt to go long? We haven't seen anything yet to confirm that, but it's trying. You also have this big zone that the market has to get through. I don't think the market's going to easily get through that on the first attempt. So, the net short position still kind of makes sense in certain sectors, not everyone. Position trading, if you believe that the market is starting to cycle, I've brought up the thesis idea that healthcare is likely going to be the next bull. Whether it's true or not, yet to be seen. But if you're starting to gather a position, then you're doing it on an extreme, which is, you know, something I was able to achieve. And then you're also maybe looking to gather it close to support. And whether it goes all the way up here or whether it just does a bunch of random stuff in between and then eventually goes up, you know, there's still kind of a case to maybe gather some positions in healthcare. You know, you combine that with maybe also looking at your oversold areas of the market and starting to anticipate, you know, the recovery phase of this market. Whether or not that occurs is yet to be seen. But I don't think it's ever a problem to consider positioning into certain aspects of weakness in a market. Depends on your time frame and what your intention is. I certainly would like to see some of these actually get into a range first, because all we're doing right now is anticipating a low not being broken. Until we have a range, it's very hard to do that. You know, you compare that with your China stocks, I think these have bottomed. So why is the consumer discretionary and growth tech stocks back in favor recently? Because of dropping yields. It's short term right now, but I think dropping yields has put a little bit of interest back into them. And yeah, there's been a couple of good examples. XBI was a really powerful move. I brought up ARC. It hasn't really broken out yet, but it might be preparing to. And then I mean, we could just look at like some older names like PLTR, used to be considered a growth name, and technically still is kind of growing as a company, you know, not Zoom, ZM. I mean, it doesn't look like much on the chart, but you swing these down, you compare the size of these moves. These are typically 50, 60% recoveries from the lows. So, you know, the Rokus, that one actually just made a fresh low. That one's not so great. Kind of watching out for Tesla as well, like our big consumer discretionary name. This stock, it's kind of on, it's not on the dance floor yet, but it's having a lot of trouble here. And this is obviously a steep decline, so I'm giving the favor to the bears right now, because I mean they gave up about 50% before this started. So bears are winning on Tesla, whether you like it or not. And we're not steep enough yet for me to think that it's a good buying opportunity. Okay, so for YouTube, Veru. So I'll just look at this one as a short-term opportunity. Massive rally after hours, so definitely in focus today. Notice what's happening in the pre-market. No one's really buying it yet, so we haven't really set up our low yet. We can anticipate where it could be. Ideally, it's going to test the swing highs and then form a base. Could be as simple as just a moving average coming into it, but as of right now, there is no support. Not yet. And, you know, definitely looking a bit long bias here. If you're short already, then you're probably shorted these drawdowns that are starting to form, and you're kind of seeing how far it goes. Yeah, I mean, it was a great rally after hours, but for today, unless you're in position, what is left for it, I need it to base out, and ideally it's going to be at the swing high. After any of that happens, what does the daily look like? It's a bit choppy, if I'm being frank. There's a lot of back and forth. This high is really important. And when you look at the upside here, you definitely want this pullback to give you room to the high, but you also recognize it's going to take some rebuilding to get there. So today might not be the day it breaks this high. We also ran right into a distribution zone. This is where a lot of chop occurred after a rally, and then it broke down. So this has to be a supply zone or a distribution zone, places where people want to sell. We ran into that on the spike and haven't cleared it. So that's a problem. Otherwise, just kind of see what the level 2 looks like today. These stocks tend to be a little whippy in the morning unless they can develop a clear bias and trend. You want to see, in this case, we're in a 5-minute downtrend, but let's say there are explosive up moves and then slow, steady pullbacks. You want to see that as a bull to even anticipate the idea of getting engaged long. Otherwise, we're waiting for support to be built. So, GBT for that one, global blood therapeutics. So I'm assuming this is a biotech. Biotechs have been in play. This one looks pretty awesome. It looks like it had a massive rally. We cleared the 200. There's a very mild pullback here. That could have been a moment to maybe get engaged. We also cleared our pivot, which is also very important. Massive sell, pullback, a fresh low with a lack of follow through, and then a rally to break the pivot. That's technically pretty bullish. Got above the 200. It looks like we're spiking out right now, and I'd be a little cautious today of the fade. It's not to say that this won't continue in the future. It's just a bad spot to be long, because you start pulling this back up to the weekly. It's kind of like saying this is resistance and I expect it to clear it immediately. That usually doesn't happen. Regardless of what the previous 10 days have looked like, it's a moment for the bulls to rest. So I'd be cautious going long on this one due to location. I'd also be anticipating, if we do stall out, a deeper pullback on your daily time frame, because it is, from a percentage perspective, this thing pretty much went straight up. There was one pullback along the way. So looks great. Looks like one you could keep an eye on. And big picture, this might happen. It could have that small pullback and then expand later. The question is, what is it gonna do before that happens? It could easily get back over here. It could chop before ever breaking that low, and then eventually go further. So I think location's poor for a bull. Perspective here is that it is bullish, but probably not the right time to get engaged. And I think that's about all the time I have. I'll look quickly at SMH. Big rally 2 days ago. Fairly oversold area of the market. One of those areas that has a lot to gain, a lot to recover. You look at just your MACD RSI kind of readings, you'll see major cycle lows in a lot of these readings. We actually didn't really even get oversold, so that easily could come into play. But also, how far is this drawn down? I like this area. I think it's an area to defend. And as with most things, you have to defend the low first before you can go bullish. So, it is bearish. We need defense first, and then, of course, we can talk about reclaiming some ground. But you often don't just go down and then straight up. So regardless of the past couple of days, I definitely would be aware of bounces, fading, and then ultimately chopping, more of a range than a bull. Okay, with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we will talk more next week. Have a great weekend. See you all Monday.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today, my friend?
Good morning, Carlos. I am fantastic. How are you this
Excellent.
morning?
Excellent. I'm very good. Very good. Glad to hear that. Um, guys, welcome. Hopefully, everything is good this morning. Over on YouTube, let's give Jared a big thumbs up for getting us through the market open this morning. Well, through the pre-market, but pre-market this morning. We appreciate it very
This
much with his insights, getting up very early at 8 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Okay, guys, let's take a look at our gappers list. Obviously, we're feeling a little bullish this morning. A lot of green in the screen today. A couple of tickers here, some in double digits. Not great names, but it's nice to see things swinging the other way for once. The last 3 days in the SPY, they've been very interesting. We'll get to that in a second. Peter's covering for Norm today. He'll talk a little bit about the overall market and what we've seen the last 3 days and some green action there. Nothing in the red today, huh? So everything just on the upside of things at the moment. So we'll chop through this and see what's going on there. For the most part, again, I did not trade yesterday again, guys. I've been just not focused on the markets the last couple of days. So our watch list here, although it seemed very active, I just can't speak on the actual price action. But it looks like there was some pretty good stuff happening, except for CCL. That was interesting. That was one that actually did not trade very well yesterday. So again, probably had their own catalyst there. So that would be one to be on the lookout for today. Because everything else seemed to have had a good day besides
Yeah,
CCL.
the I can tell you the afternoon for the most part was pretty boring. There was
Mm-hmm.
one good move, and I whiffed it. So, but anyways,
Yeah, yeah,
everything around. I think it was like 336. If you look,
yeah.
most of the major stocks, they all sort of dropped at the same time. There's a good move down. But other than that, yeah, it was a pretty slow afternoon. Most of the action was in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all right, guys, let's get to our market pulse and kind of see what's going on there, Norm. Sorry, not Norm. Peter, what is the latest and greatest?
I would be not Norm. That's me. So,
That's right.
um, yeah, we have a couple things on the economic calendar for today. Most significantly around here, it's my wife's birthday, so that's an economic calendar event certainly here. Uh,
Nice.
but
Happy birthday to your wife if she's listening.
happy birthday,
Happy
baby.
birthday. Yep.
Other than that, we do have jobless claims that are coming out. Actually, they should be out any minute now. And it'll be interesting to see. I don't expect a big surprise there. I keep refreshing, but I don't see the news yet. They're expecting 230,000 in terms of claims. That's the forecast, which matches with the previous. And then the one of the Fed chairs is speaking this afternoon. In fact, two of them I think are speaking, but they unless it's the big guy, they don't really have much of a market impact. So I expect it to be a relatively quiet day for market news. We'll see what happens. There's always something to trade. Let's figure out what it's going to be.
Yep, that is absolutely correct. All right, guys, let's jump into our gappers list this morning, which continues to grow here. Oh, there we go. We got one ticker in the red now, which is Coles, which I saw. Was it a downgrade or something? I saw something on Trading Terminal earlier today. Let me go there and see what it was. But I saw something here and also in our sheets. They're just not doing well. These guys. They're
Could be.
I'm not sure if there's bankruptcy talks already, but they're just getting hammered. You know what? It must have been in my notes that I get from Hamish that I saw that. Um, but yeah, let's start with Coles. Coles is gapping down today. They are down 2.1 this morning. Let's make some room here for some new
Hmm.
tickers. It's
The
definitely
only
in play.
news
Hmm.
the only news I see so far is that there's a partner that's expanding into Kohl's stores. But I'm not sure why that wouldn't necessarily be bringing them down.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Maybe
unless there's
something on
something else
the
going on.
in the details that are not good for Coles, at least for the people holding the stocks here. Right now we're volume 107, so this one's going to be good. Again, we had a big drop on this already a couple of days ago, and now we're dropping again here. But most importantly, we're losing the level of support we had just made the last 3 days, right? So right in here, we had a little bit of support, and we're slightly below that now, and that could be interesting. So again, Coast normally does not trade very well, but when you have action like this in the catalyst, which doesn't seem to be that, I agree with you, Peter, doesn't seem to be such a big deal. but who knows? The market's not liking it today. At least Coast is not liking it.
Mm.
So we'll keep that one on deck. Let's go to our gap up list, starting with ANVS. This one is 5.6 million shares flow, so a little bit on the lower side. We are currently up 17% on this, 497,000 shares traded, but this is an ugly 497,000 shares. I mean, this is not clean at all. Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't like
No,
this one bit.
I just like the way you worded it. There may be some shares, but it's ugly.
That's nasty. There you go. So trade this at your own risk. I don't like the way this is setting up, guys. I tell you, I hate stocks that do this and then it just starts selling down. There's no support. You want to see the ABCD pattern with some good volume, and we're not just seeing that right now. So
So
we'll
it is
leave
a
this
lower
alone.
float. Keep in mind, the float's a little under 6 million shares, so
Hmm.
that's going to impact it. There is news. They do have FDA for approval on a clinical trial for a Parkinson disease drug. So so that's good news for it. If you like the low floats, then this may be one for you to watch.
Absolutely, definitely low flow in action. Again, just be careful. Even for a low flow, I find it a little bit funky right now. And the spread pre-market, 30 cents plus at times. So again, it's just something's wicked about this one. Is not trading very fluid. Be very, very careful with this thing. Here is 10 TEN, and they have a heck of a morning here. Up 11%, and then just look at the action. Just every green candle has ended green on the way up. Every 5-minute candle green on the way up here. 1 million shares traded. Peter, there's got to be some news on this. I'm not sure. Daily's funky as well. Doesn't get a whole lot of volume, so a little bit concerning there. I don't know. Weird price action. Just started too around 8:10, so has not been trading like this for long this morning. So we'll put as a possible. Let's see what's going on with that one if we get some
Yeah, I'm
catalyst on
searching
it.
for
Yeah.
news on this. It's
And
they're
if
an auto
there's
parts
nothing,
manufacturer.
mm-hmm.
Um, a good sized float. They're based out of the U.S., but I don't see any real news. The last news was almost a month ago on them. So if anybody knows anything, let us know, I guess. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see why.
So we'll keep that as a possible for now. FFIE, this was on our list a couple of days here now. And again, it's just been very, very active. I forget the catalyst on this one. But either way, it is up 10% right now, 1.4 million. Let's see how it's been trading during the intraday, right? That's more important to us right now because the pre-market action have all seemed to be very, very active. How is it really trading here oh man, yesterday, this is yesterday, right? 7-6, yeah. This was brutal. This was not clean at all. Looks very choppy. You are getting volume, but just doesn't look nice.
This is also an auto parts manufacturer, so there must be something going on with this industry. Again, I'm not seeing any, sort of news on it. So I don't know
Hmm.
if anybody has some insight, I'd love to get it, but I'm not finding it.
Yeah, yeah, right. Interesting there. Yeah, the day before they did have some action here, but again, it just looks very, very choppy as far as volume. So, not a big fan right now. We need more information on that as well. Here's VERU this morning. They are down 8.2 right now, and a million shares traded so far. This one, was this the one with the pill, the oral pill for as a vaccine? I remember this having a strong catalyst. This is why it popped up, and it never actually sold back down to $4-6 because it did have like an FDA approval. Things did very well. So this morning they're active again. I know they can trade very decent. I forget the float. They're not a low float. They're a higher float, but again, lower price that can
No.
move through a couple of dollars quickly. So you want to be careful
Yeah.
there.
Their float's 60 million, so a good
Mhm.
size float. And yes, I think yesterday you probably would have announced the news that they did have a phase 3 clinical study for a COVID pill.
Okay, yeah, the COVID
So,
pill, right, right.
so
So you
this
know
is
what?
more of a continuation play, it looks like
Yeah,
today, than
yeah, yeah.
anything new.
Which is interesting because we get the initial one and it's just downhill from there. I know that we're trying to get the approval to get this thing like processed much faster so you can start using it right away. It could be interesting today, guys. I mean, it's just a lot of positive stuff happening with this ticker. I'm gonna put them as a possible. There could be some good opportunities there. Just definitely be mindful of your share size. you do not need to take a whole bunch of trades, shares to make a good profit on this, right? So always think about what you're risking opposed to what you're going to make. So very, very important. That's probably one of the most important things when it comes to trading is that risk management. Here is GameStop. Again, GME on deck this morning. They're up 5.6, 233,000. Are we memeing today? What's going on with GameStop? Shares are
Oh,
trading
where
higher
was it?
after the company
Oh, there was
announces
something
four.
about a stock split.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, yeah, there's they announced a stock split, which is crazy to me. A 4-for-1 stock split. I mean, the stock price is not that high, but anyways, I guess they're trying to they're trying to cash in and take all the money out of this as they can. Which, you know
Yeah.
what, if I
Yep.
was an executive at GameStop, I guess why not, right? Like you're not going to see another
Absolutely.
opportunity like this again anytime soon. So
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. This stock was hanging out at what, $4 here? Did we have a split before this or no? This is the first one they're thinking
uh,
about since we
I
started
thought
memeing.
I thought they had one earlier, but
It
maybe it was
must
just a
have.
secondary offering before.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't
Okay.
remember. They did do something.
Yeah, I think they did. But either way, man, I mean, why not, right? Especially
Yeah.
ride the train as long as you can, or ride this car until the wheel falls off. Who knows? So GameStop, guys, I just don't know how well this is going to trade. It could be decent, maybe not. We'll put that on as a possible here. Definitely needs more volume. I mean, GameStop, you want to see a whole lot of volume when you're trading this thing. 233 is not bad, but again, it's a stock that you want to see some really good activity if you're going to be touching that. FCX this morning, this one is up 4.5, 304,000. I believe these guys are foreign, right? I don't recall because their trading activities a little bit Freeport, maybe not. A little bit funky here. A lot of days are gapping slightly. Just not a fluid daily chart. And we talked about this in the webinar we had earlier this week about, finding stocks that have a good daily is going to help you find better levels and usually signifies a better intraday trading action, right? We're not seeing that right now. Pre-market activities, okay. Let's come back to it.
This
Let's give
is
it a little more time.
SDX is I mean it's a US based mining company, trades on
Okay.
the
Yeah.
NYSE, so keep
Mm-hmm.
that in mind, right? And it's got a 1.4 billion share float. So I've never found it to trade nicely for day trading.
Yeah, yeah. So Jared, Think and Grow confirming a 4-to-1 split on a GameStop, and usually it trades better before and after. I just don't trust GameStop at all, even on something like this, right? We've seen stocks that do this. Tesla, we saw Tesla, Amazon. We've been through a few, and if they're hot, they can trade very well before the split and after as well. So um, let's see what happens, guys. I just again
Yeah.
GameStop. It's not your typical
Just
stock,
the one thing that may change it, it's a pretty quick turnaround. Normally these things, they announce it and then it takes months. Like think of how long it took Amazon stock to split.
hmm
Here they've announced it and
Yeah,
it's going to happen July the 21st.
right,
So
right.
really it's like 2 weeks from now. So
Which is also very
well,
smart because you want to capitalize on the
yeah,
price right now. This stock could be
exactly.
at
So they could
$25 before then. Like,
so
oh
yeah,
my
so that
Lord.
that may, with the meme stock, you always have to sort of you just watch it because you never
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right? When people might get excited. So
Absolutely. So GameStop definitely active today and in play. We'll come back to that one. TCOM, TCOM this morning. They're up 4.4, 108,000. I know this was hot a couple of days ago. And yesterday actually did another one that was on the weaker side of things alongside CCL. So just the whole travel side seems to not be taken well to yesterday's action. So CCL down yesterday. Trip.com, also travel company, took a hit as well. How about the airlines? American Airlines, not so much. The airlines though did okay. I'm gonna put CCL as a possible, guys. It's interesting what's happening here with their overall news. I want to see what's happening there. And Trip, I am not sure about this one. Right now, pre-market activity is it Trip? No, sorry, TCOM. It's TCOM now. It's the new ticker.
Ecom, yeah,
Yep.
it's every single time I see the symbol, I think it's like a telecom company. It is not. It's
Same here.
Trip.com, a Chinese travel company. I don't see any
Yep.
news on it today, but yeah, it obviously is moving a little bit.
Yeah, 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 no action today. I do have CCR on deck. I'm gonna watch that one instead this morning. TSM foreign ticker that looks very active this morning. Are the semis doing anything today? This is up 4.4. MU is up 1.4. How we're doing? Nvidia up 2%. All right, so something's up with the semis because they're starting to get going here, and it could be the SPY, but
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
we're
know.
just generally seeing just a little rebound in the sector. I don't see any particular news behind it, but I would expect, frankly, this to be one of the fastest sectors to recover if there's any
Yeah.
positivity in the market whatsoever. They're well positioned. There's demand for their products. So this should be a sector that does well. But again, they're market dependent.
Yeah, yeah, but agree. I'm gonna add AMD and Nvidia. I think those are better ones. TSM, you can do that one as well. I just like the way these other ones trade. But this TSM, guys, definitely in play today, up 4.4, almost 300,000 shares traded. Usually they're foreign, so they can be very gappy at times. But they've proven to put in some really good days in the past. Actually, I'm gonna add them as a possible just to take a look at them, make sure if there's any opportunity we can take advantage of it. But they've shown to trade on the better side of things, even though being a foreign ticker company. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's look at XBEV, which is leading the way here as far as when it comes to EV Chinese stocks there. So XBEV right now, no, this is a bad pre-market action. It is up 4.1, 357, but I thought the pre-market action was going to look a lot better. I'm definitely not liking that there. Peter, what do you like this morning on your end?
I haven't found anything other than the usuals. So AMD and
Mm-hmm.
Apple actually have been my two favorites. I've been trading
Yes,
Apple
yeah.
more than AMD. Shameful to
Nice.
say, but true.
Yes,
Other than
yes.
that, I've been watching Amazon. It's starting to move better intraday just to give us good move opportunities. But there's no news on any of those three specifically. But that's what I'll be watching unless I find better candidates.
Yeah. I see a couple of people in both chats throwing out USEA Bruno on YouTube, and also a couple of people in our members tab as well. So let's take a look at it. USEA. What is this ticker? So, just IPO. Just IPO, it looks like. Second day here.
Yeah.
And what is this? I don't even know the company name. And I'm probably
Did
not going to
not
have
have
no
this. Yeah, I
data.
didn't have this on an IPO list for yesterday, so I don't even know what this is. Let's see what I can
United
find.
Maritime Corporation, some kind of uh, oil company. What is this?
Weird. Weird. It was not an announced
It was
IPO.
not. Yeah, I'm just checking to see what kind of company, see if I find information on it. Um, but again, they're looking pretty good. Usually IPOs don't trade this well, but this one's trading very nice. You got a good day yesterday. You're in the green this morning, up 179. You don't see that every day with 8 million shares being traded at the moment. So that is looking pretty good there, my friends. Worth taking a look at. We're just not going to have a lot of information on this.
I love it. I'm going to my IPO finder,
Mhm.
and it says about United Marine Corporation, Marshall Islands. That's all I've got.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
apparently they're headquartered in the Marshall Islands, and I know nothing else.
yeah, yeah.
So
So, guys, and
one of
again,
those.
we'll add this to our risky pile just because you have to be careful. It's not a whole lot of information on this just yet. We got 8 million shares traded on it, up 170. But again, definitely in play. Very careful with this thing. We just don't know a lot of it at the moment. It's not an IPO. It's a spinoff. A spinoff of what? Of what? Do we have the information on that? Okay, so that makes sense why it would be trading so
Yeah,
active like this. Yeah,
yeah, and
that
why I
makes
didn't
sense.
see it on my list from
And why you
yesterday. So
wouldn't
that
see it.
that
Yeah, correct.
makes
All right,
sense.
guys, let's see what else you guys have on deck. Let's look at Fabio, who's giving us Tesla, Neo, and Baba, three tickers that we know very well and have traded more often than not. Here's Tesla this morning, a little bit flat at the moment. So hasn't done much right now. Yesterday didn't have such an incredible day as many of the other stocks that we saw had. Neo, for the most part, yeah, I think they're pretty quiet. Neo has some volume, 1.2 up 2%. We just need some kind of movement out of these stocks. Baba does look out of all of these, I like Baba. I mean, the daily looks nice here. We have a potential breakout situation, right? If you look at Neo, you look at Tesla, they're kind of stuck within their daily. If you look at Baba, you got this nice little pattern forming here. Once again, slamming against this 121 area. And I just think they're maybe due for a breakout here. Maybe not today, but they're really setting up nicely for it. You can see the technicals are looking really good. In the last couple of days, really higher lows on every single day here since we had this pullback. So I really like the way Bob is forming today. Let's keep an eye on it. It is 217 and up 1.1. Not bad this morning. Heading on down, we do have a Amazon from RGF. A spinoff, yeah, we go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was going to answer the same question you
Okay.
are. So Walcott is asking, what is a spinoff? So a spinoff is generally when a company takes a division, a product line, or a portion of their company. It could be a regional piece, and basically break it off to a separate managed and operated company. They then list it with a separate ticker, and often that unlocks value within a company. So, for example, there was one significant one a while back where I think it was Macy's, an old established retail brand, decided to try to spin off their online offerings and holdings, and that got a lot of excitement. So often companies do it if they think there's a part of their company that's worth a lot more than is being reported in their overall valuation, and they can spin it off to sort of unlock and get that value, because then the parent company sort of gets money out of the raised offerings from the market, and the spin-off then gets to operate somewhat independently and drive its own value. So that's really what a spinoff is. I don't know does anybody know what USEA is a spinoff of?
I am not
From
sure.
Ship.
Someone
Manfred
from
says
yeah,
from Ship. So there
yeah,
you
yeah.
go. So usually
So
what you should see, Ship's value should be dropping. Well, it's been dropping for a while.
yeah,
Normally, it depends how it goes, and it depends how much ownership of USEA Ship has retained. But usually,
correct.
because a piece of the company has left, their valuation should diminish, unless you get these exceptional situations sometimes where the spin-off value is so high, and because they own a big piece of it, both companies go up. But anyways, right now we're
Exactly.
seeing typical approach. USEA is up, Ship is not doing much, but generally heading down.
Mm-hmm. Jared's confirming I'll watch Baba as well because it's eventually going to pop this week. At least it looks like it, right? Setting up nicely. So I fully agree with that, guys. Baba's daily looks really, really nice this morning. Definitely want to keep that one on deck. All right, what else, guys? So Amazon news. We left off with RFG. What news do we have for Amazon? I mean, this one has been really active, even without a new specific catalyst. As you can see here, we are pretty much flat right now, but it's been getting great volume. I mean, for the most part, every day you're getting almost 80 million shares traded on this thing, right? About 66 actually. So a little bit lower, hitting 80 a few times. So you're getting great volume. If it's just moving in any direction, you can get it like it did a couple of days ago, 108 to 112. Yesterday, 112 to 116. So the range is pretty nice on Amazon. I gotta say it's been one of those nice stocks to keep on deck and watch. So Amazon, we will add this on deck. Let's put that right on here. I think it's becoming one of our usual suspects, as we will call those.
Amazon, I see some interesting news that they are ramping up their plans to have a QVC style sort of live online sales channel. It's funny in hearing that. I'm thinking I'm shocked that they hadn't done that already. Seems like an
Yeah, yeah,
obvious thing that they could have done. Easy way to monetize their channel, and to they've got all the tech they need to make that happen. But if it helps sell stuff, I guess it's always amazing to me how people just like to buy things, right? Oh, that looks cool.
yes,
I'll just
absolutely,
buy. Didn't know I
absolutely.
needed it till this very moment.
So Prime Day, Prime Day is it coming around? I believe, right? So Prime Day, I need it, and yeah. All right.
Right.
So, oh man, this BBBY. What do we have going on here this morning, man? This stock's at $4. Bed Bath and Beyond, up 6.3 this morning. But again, I think the way the stock is trading now at this price level is just brutal. I mean, this does not look pretty at all. And obviously, you move up 30 cents, it's going to show you a big percentage number of a gap up. So, not liking what I'm seeing right now on this. It just doesn't look good as a possible opportunity today. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna bet my money elsewhere I don't like the way this was setting up right now. Ship, we looked at already. American Airlines. Yeah, we saw American Airlines, and it was pretty much flat right now. Pretty, it's barely up 0.5%. But most importantly, because sometimes they can do that. They can stay within the previous day close, which is fine. Which I would like to see that because if you see here, that is an area of resistance over the last month or so, last 30 days, and the possible breakout there. But we need more volume. Right now, 315 is not it for American Airlines. Now, this will be a great one. If this thing starts hitting the turbo breakup, this will be a good one to watch. I think it's going to need more help than just moving on its own. I think the SPY, the Qs, just the overall market needs to get going to kind of help this American Airlines rally here. Because yesterday when we dropped, right, when some of the travel companies dropped, American Airlines and looks like many of them did not follow suit. So that could be interesting on that end on itself. So well, I want to kind of not put on the secondary list, but keep an eye, keep a mindful eye if you see that in the scanners or the turbo breakup or turbo breakdown. Taking a look at Oxy today, we are pretty flat right now. Actually, no, we don't have no volume. We're actually up 1.7, but this is typical Oxy stuff, right? It's just no volume whatsoever. The last couple of days on the daily, though, look how interesting this has been. The days is all dropping down, coming right back up, getting back to the 59. So it loves to be in this area here. Today we're a little bit higher than that. That's interesting. That's interesting the way that is setting up there. That buying pressure, getting off 57 every time. So and how many times have we seen this on Oxy? The drop and the V reversal on the intraday. I think we've done this probably the last three days. A little bit of a drop, V reversal, and some continuation there. And I think the day before was actually when we traded it, and there was another V drop as well. Here it is again. So Oxy is doing some funny stuff here. Go short this morning, then go long around 11 o'clock, and you do well with Oxy. Just kidding, guys. Don't do that. Don't just follow blindly at something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add Oxy as a secondary because it is interesting though. You're not seeing no pre-market action, but you're somehow getting these great moves in the intraday. So could be interesting. Could be interesting. Um,
If
uh, yeah.
just back on the airlines, you mentioned American Airlines. There was a little bit of news yesterday about
Mm-hmm.
them compensating their pilots for some computer drop flights.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but not nothing to move the company. I think generally in the industry, there was the White House had announced an extra $1 billion in funding to upgrade airport terminals in the U.S., which if you've flown through pretty much any airport terminal in the U.S., that is desperately needed. You also will know that $1 billion is not going to go very far. So it's great that they're providing these grants, but really there's a ton of infrastructure investment needed. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. I don't know if you've flown hey, Carlos, Newark. I mean, Newark is
Oh my.
touted as
Oh
one of
my
the
lord.
worst airports in the
The
U.S. and yet
worst.
it's such a major hub, and yet I'll go to Singapore and they have a freaking jungle in their airport. It is awesome.
Right, right.
So
It is the worst, the worst. I mean, I fly out of there because other airports I got to go into the city. They're not far. They're like 15 miles, but 15 miles in this area could be an hour and a half. So it's brutal. But it is horrible. Newark is the worst place to get into. And first, I got an email from a member yesterday that they missed the meetup we had in New York because the meetup was supposed to be Friday and we moved it to Saturday. And the reason we did that was because of Newark. So you could blame the airlines because Andrew was traveling that same day. And we knew that, hey, man, the chances of you getting here on time are very slim, very slim. So if you're
yeah.
planning to travel into this area, and not just Newark, it's all the tri-state airports here, Newark, LaGuardia, they're all the same thing. Make sure you don't plan anything for that exact same day because you are most likely not going to make it in on time. All right, let's get going here. So I think we have a pretty good list so far. Let's go ahead and do community events and announcements. See what's coming up for the rest. Actually, today's Friday. No, today's Thursday. For tonight and also next week, and then we will come back and fine tune this list. We got a pretty decent list this morning.
All right. So that's my cue. Hello. Okay. So
Hi, Peter.
excuse me. I was busy thinking about airports. Hopefully, I had a chance to attend last night, and last night we had a great webinar, as we do every night during the week. Mondays are typically for onboarding. We had a holiday Monday this week, so that got pushed. But next Monday there will be an onboarding class. Stay tuned for that. Carlos leads that and helps give you an oversight of what you've got here in the community and how to best take advantage of it. Tuesdays are about strategies and trade books, so they're technical sessions. Next Tuesday, is it next Tuesday? Yes, the 12th. Thor is going to be with us talking about his overall market theory. These are always extremely popular because he has got it down. He knows what he's doing. He understands how to execute, and he does it consistently. If there's one person whom you want to listen to give you a sort of a fully fleshed out theory on the market, sincerely, it's Thor. He knows what he's about. So hopefully you'll join us for that next Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the webinar room. The week after, Artie's going to be with us talking about options and how to leverage options as part of your day trading strategy. So that'll be on the 19th. For our psychology series, which happens on Wednesday, last night, like I mentioned, we had a great session last night. Hopefully you were able to attend. This coming Wednesday on the 13th, it's an early one. Whenever Kreta is with us, it's early because she's coming to us live from Europe. So that's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So that's 1 hour after the market close. Keep that in mind. And she's talking about, the title is Imagining Your Way to Trading Success. She is big on using visualization techniques and helping manage your mindset to be effective in trading. I will tell you firsthand, I have used her approaches. They have significantly helped me in my trading career. So pay close attention to what Kreta tells you. There's gold in there. So next week, 5 o'clock, Wednesday the 13th. Thursdays are the week after, by the way. Mike's going to be back with us, starting over with our series talking about Psychology 101. Always a good refresher, or if you're new to trading psychology, definitely something you want to attend. All right, so Thursdays are all about mentorship. And it is a Thursday today, which means we will be looking at mentorship today with John in the webinar room at 11 a.m. He'll be leading a session. He always has a new topic, and it's always useful. Hopefully he doesn't have kitchen construction going on like he did yesterday, but I'm sure that's over, and we'll get some great insight out of him. Ed usually gives us his perspectives towards the end of the day in his chat room, and then he talks about it through the market close. And then Thursday night, again, a very popular session with Thor, 8 o'clock, webinar room. We've got the mentorship with Thor on Thursday. He really sort of takes a deeper dive into what he's doing every day, shows you his strategies, and answers all of your questions. So hopefully you will join him this evening. If you are looking to improve your trading, there's lots more you can do outside of market hours. Check out our stock trading simulator. Gives you access to all the historical sort of movement of stocks on any day, any stock. Plug it in. You can sort of run it and then trade against it in our simulator. We won't spam you with anything. Really, there's just a sign up so that we can hold your preferences and your settings so you don't have to reset them every time. Go to stocktradingsimulator.com and you will get that. And if you're looking to join us, hopefully you will you check out the community, see what it's like, more than just the pre-market show here. We got stuff that goes on every day, and when there's nothing moving in the market, we go and have fun like we did yesterday. We talked everything from cars to world economics to home renovations. We were doing everything, but always with an eye on the markets, though, and keeping an eye on what was happening. So, and some of the members, in fact, took advantage of the trade that I missed, but they were in it and they got some great trading out of it. So, PreMarket 24 is a code if you want to just try out our chat room for 1 full week. Complete access to the chat room as well as the onboarding classes. And right now, if you actually join with an elite annual membership, Dr. Reed has very generously offered to give every new member a free one-on-one coaching session. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. Use the code READ50 to get that elite annual membership rate as well as the free one-on-one coaching session.
All right, thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate that very much. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list here. Before we do that, let's get our thumbs up here over on YouTube. We appreciate that quite a bit. How many likes do we have today? We're sitting at 155, so a little bit on the lower side of things. Hopefully we can go on a little rally here, a little bullish rally and the likes. Let's see what we got, guys. I was looking at Meta. So who mentioned Meta over Ryan? You mentioned Meta setting up on the daily. I agree as well. The day looks very nice on this one. Had a nice couple of days here in the green. So yeah, it's looking good, man. It really is. I'm going to add as a possible. We'll see if we can fine tune this. We'll take some stuff off from here. But yeah, Meta does look good on the daily, at least for right now. So guys, a lot of green on here. Everything is green or barely green, like Meta, besides Coast, right? Everything is in the green territory, at least for now. Apple barely making it there, but it's a lot of bullish things here on our list this morning. So that is nice. Obviously, the SPY has something to do with that because the SPY is not gapping down today, right? So the fact it's just not gapping down, it's pretty much flat. It's a positive sign because we've been bullish the last couple of days, but if you notice, we gapped down though, right? So we were bullish here, nice, but we gapped down. We ended up green, so I don't know how I would take that, right? So it looks very positive here. But right now, we're in the green, and a lot of stocks are showing that as well. Let's take a look at some levels. We'll start with Coast. So starting here, Coast, low of the pre-market right now, 26.59. I like this one because, again, it's just a lot of just bad catalysts around Coast. It has not been great. And we're losing this level here. I do like it quite a bit for either direction. Might be oversold towards the downside. Maybe we can get some positive movements. But either way, I think it's sitting nicely in an area that can be interesting for today. Down 1.4 towards the top. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So that's pretty much taking care of you there. And if we head to the left, we haven't been down here in a while. Let's go to a weekly chart here. And we're looking... Oh, let's go back. We're looking at July 2020. So July 2020, we're in this area. We got a nice level here that we can mark down. It's going to be 24.31. And do we have anything up top? We have, this is more of not a possible, but a very weak level. I won't put too much weight on it. That's going to be 23.72. So again, a little bit on the weaker side. Not a lot of touches on that 23. Was 25, so 25.72, but it's worth having something there because the next one you really have on the weekly when we're going back is going to be 24.31, and that's really far out. You want to have something in between there as far as levels. So that is Coast, guys. Pre-market action could be better. I like the drop. Let's see how that's going to continue. Head on over to AMD this morning. So AMD is up 2.3 as of now. So that's a good pop. As we can see here, daily has been really nice on AMD the last couple of days, so that could be interesting. High of the pre-market right now is being created at 77.08. We'll slamming level there. That's going to change, but for now, let's put that level there for the most part. Towards the top, above that, we do have 78.94. So we're going to slam the level there, and then above this clear level here, guys, at 86.20. We have another one at 83.09. Again, this is a stretch. I don't think we'll get there, but some very clear levels when it comes to the 20 upside movement here on AMD. So hitting 77.08. Let's see if that can get going. It kind of tried to test that very early on. We're back at it again here, out 2.2 with some decent volume picking up on AMD. Here's NVIDIA. And we saw some action on the semiconductors. TSM is another one I have on my secondary list that's actually up 4.3. It's a Taiwanese semiconductor ticker, and they're doing very well. They have a few days where they can trade very decent. Today might be one of them because it looks like the semiconductors are in play. And as we mentioned before, and as you've seen, heard from Jarvis several times in the morning, if there's anything that's going to bounce strong today, semis is where, not semis, overall tech is where it's going to be at, right? The Qs might have a better bounce than most tickers. So here on NVIDIA, 152.34, low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market, 154.98. So 2 levels there that are looking pretty good. Also being confirmed to the left here. A couple of days opening and closing right around that area. Like if you look at our pre-market high, you can see you got a lot of support and resistance there. And then towards the top, I'm going to mark down this 158.72. So that's a good level there as well on NVIDIA. So pretty much set there. Towards the bottom, previous day close, highs and lows are doing a pretty good job there. So you're taken care of. Here's Apple towards the bottom as well, since we've been just kind of pushing higher here. You got levels for the highs and lows towards the bottom, previous day close as well. Slightly in the green, barely. I mean, we're really flat on it this morning. The pre-market high is going to be at 143.61. Then you got yesterday's high above that here around 144. And at this level here, I mean, Apple has flirted with this a bunch of times. They love this level here as support, as you saw here, right? Support there, resistance, and then resistance a couple of days ago. We're back at it one more time. Can we get above this range, right? So let's see if that's going to be in the cards for Apple today. As far as levels, we have a few here that look pretty good. 149.68 is decent. We will need a big rally for that to happen, but a more decent level is going to be 146.68. If we can break out of this, right, we need to break out of this level to get that 146.68. And the fact that we're starting flat and everything else is high on the green side is telling me that Apple is struggling to get above this level, even early on having a tough time getting above 143. If you look at his buddies, AMD, NVIDIA are all nicely above 2.2% this morning. So we'll see how Apple ends up here. But you mentioned, Peter, that Apple has been trading a lot better for you the last couple of days, and I can see why on the daily.
It has.
Looking real nice. So
Yeah.
very good. Here is Baba, guys. Again, I love the daily on Baba this morning. Treated us very well in the month of June. Let's see if that can continue. Eventually it'll stop, but if it can continue, we'll take advantage of it. High of the pre-market 121, and that's where it's been struggling to get above since we had a nice little rally here. This was in May, right? May, nice little rally into June. A little bit of a pullback with just the SPY. I think some more negative news came out of China. Then right back at it again. So looking real nice for a possible breakout. And if you go back to April, again, an area where we struggle to get above here on Baba. So I know Baba's day looks a little funky now that I'm looking at it on the bigger picture. It's very choppy, but we've been watching the stock very closely. It has been trading very well in the intraday. So definitely happy to have them on deck this morning. Above this 121 level that we're struggling with, we have 124 there, and then above that, just one more in case today's the day for a nice little rally. We're looking at 128.31 on Baba this morning. Towards the bottom, you are set. Just mark down the low of the pre-market at 117.41, and you have 117.36 actually, and you are all good there, my friends. All right, let's look at Amazon. Amazon also daily looking very nice for a possible breakout. Pre-market action flat right now, not doing a whole lot. Volume is there. It's not, it's not perfect. It's not great. We've seen better.
It's there.
It's there. It's there. We know Amazon can trade heavy volume, but in the pre-market, we're not seeing that this morning. High of the pre-market, 115.15. And then above that, we do have a couple of levels, 118 over here on this daily. And we also have 116.70. So great thing about Amazon is that, it can move a couple of dollars very quickly. So you don't need to take a whole lot of shares, which is nice because your commissions can be lower. You can manage your risk accordingly, and you can, take advantage of a really good move, really good profits, right? So just be mindful of that. Do not need to load the boat on this thing. You can get $1 very easy out of Amazon, right? So just be mindful, and you can lose $1 very easy as well. So be mindful of the number of shares you take here. All right, that is our list, my friends. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Peter, is there anything I missed? And if not, you can go ahead and read your list here on your watch list.
No.
I'll bring that over.
Nothing you missed. I'm going to be focusing on Apple and AMD, as I always do, with Amazon also on my prime list. Secondary, I'm going to airlines through American Airlines, AAL. This USEA is surprisingly good. Now, 10 million shares traded already, so that means it's once through its float. But it might be interesting. I'll just keep an eye on it, as well as GME. That's more rubbernecking, frankly, because I'm just curious to see if GME is going to react. But I'm less likely to trade that. But that's my.
I like that rubbernecking. Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Always looking at the crash.
Very good. That's what we did with our kind of we call our entertainment stocks, right? We had AMC and Gamestop and all that good stuff. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the moderators. Let's start here with Mike. No IPOs, no SPACs for today. Mike, you're reporting you're like Apple and Baba this morning. Both look very good. Love the daily on both of those as well. Jared looking at energy stocks, specific natural gas plays for today. Baba, TSM, NVIDIA, and AMD, all semis here. Again, in play heavy this morning. So we have both of those, and we have TSM on our secondary list, which we forgot to find, so we'll do that if we have time towards the end. Here's Jared looking, secondary, GameStop and USEA. Megan's looking at Oxy, Docu, and QQ. So I know she's been looking at Docu for a couple of days. So that's been doing well there. Dima is looking at TSM, Oxy, AMD, and Apple. And Peter read his list out already. So that's what we have, guys. Andrew and Brian up next, trading live for us. Guys, take a look at you got to keep up with the trading terminal because things get added very quickly. I know we're in beta, so we're constantly adding and changing things and making this better tool every single day. We just added this opinion. I never noticed this here, and if I missed it, my apologies. But this is nice. You got this the opinion tab here, and now we have Andrew, we have Artie, with a place where you can find other articles that they have posted and released, right? And you can see all their insights on here. So definitely take a look at this, guys. Real nice. TradingTerminal.com. And again, it is beta, guys. So there are some things that are going to be a little funky at times, but it is coming out very nice. Love the stuff that we're seeing here, and it's completely free to you. So take advantage of that. Take advantage. All right. Guys, we are set coming up on 9:15. Looking at everything here, we have Coast, we have AMD, NVIDIA, all semis looking really hot right now alongside with TSM. We have Apple, we have Baba, and we have Amazon. So a couple of great tickers that hopefully can give us some good opportunities this morning. Here's Eamon coming in with his list. He's looking at mRNA as a potential long, potential short, DKNG, and Macy's for him today. So that is Eamon's list so far. Guys, thank you so much. Sitting at 230 likes. Thank you very much for those that have hit that thumbs up. If you haven't done so, slam that now and get us to that 400 mark. That is our goal on a usual basis. We'd love to see there. So, all right. So I'm glad you brought this picture up here. Let me show you something here. Let's bring this up. If you see this, guys, subscription based only. All that means is, if you wanna be able to type into the channel on YouTube, you got to subscribe. And the reason for that is because if we don't set that up where you have to be a member for at least a minute so you can type into a YouTube chat, we start getting these spammers trying to get you to, do naughty things and naughty websites, right? So we're trying to avoid that. If we put that on there, we realize that they don't like to wait a minute because it's a bot, right? Bot's coming in trying to send a message 3-4 times, then we got to go remove it. With this turned on, it allows us to avoid that. So just subscribe and then wait a minute. Once you wait 1 minute, then you should be able to type in with no problem, right? If that doesn't happen, let me know. But for the most part, wait a minute and you should be able to type in here. All right. So thank you for your patience there. We're just trying to we're just trying to avoid these spammers come destroying our environment here in our chat. So somehow YouTube, one of the biggest tech companies, hasn't figured out how to stop spam, right? So it is what it is.
Well, I don't think they have a will to stop it, do they?
Oh, exactly.
How they get paid.
It's not in their best interest for some reason to do that. All right, guys, 286. Thank you very much. Almost there, but we will take that. We appreciate it. We will see you guys tonight for mentorship all over the day today. We have 4 o'clock, we have 8 p.m., and we also have the closing bell at 3:30 today. So don't miss it. Looking forward to seeing Andrew and Artie go at it again today and kind of give us an insight before we end this week. So take care, guys. Stay safe, and we will see you all later today. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Norm will be back tomorrow, so thanks for letting me hang out with you, and have a good trading day.
Absolutely. Thank you for covering, Peter. Appreciate it very much.
No problem.